Welcome to our videos on advanced features of Google AdWords. In this video, we'll introduce the Google Website Optimizer tool. Now, in this video set, I'm going to talk through some of the more advanced features of Google AdWords. And actually, as I record this, there have been some important changes in Google AdWords to some of its rules. Or you need to keep an eye on its ever-changing terms of use if you use it seriously. But also, Google has added some very powerful functionality, which up to this point, you've had to pay for separately. For example, in the past, to get very detailed statistics on your web traffic, you often used to have to pay for quite expensive services. But when Google offered analytics for free as part of your account, then you could get something for free which you usually had to pay for. And now they've done that with something else, which is very useful, and that's for testing different versions of web pages. Okay, let's start going through this. If you go to Tools, in the Campaign Management tab, if you go to Tools, and here it says Website Optimizer. Optimize your website. Experiment with different versions of a page on your website to discover the best content for boosting your business. And software and services to allow easy testing of web pages have been around for a while, but now it comes at no extra cost with your AdWords account. Okay, so here's the Website Optimizer screen. And the terminology Google uses here is experiment. Each of your tests is an experiment. And if you aren't familiar with the concept, testing web pages comes from the idea that even small changes to the text or the look of your page can have a significant impact on the effectiveness of the page. For example, let's say you have a web page that's focused on collecting new e-zine subscribers. So you have some copy, some text describing your e-zine and why it would be a good idea for the visitor to sign up now. So you have the copy, and then you have the opt-in form. For example, for this web page, you may wish to create two versions of the web page with two different color schemes. And let's say over a period of a week, you want to send 1,000 visitors to one page and 1,000 visitors to the other page. Or really, what you would do if you're running the test for a week is you would split the traffic 50-50. But alternatively, you could say you're going to wait until 1,000 have visited each page, then look at the statistics. Then one of those pages may show itself to be a lot more responsive, a lot more effective than the other one. So that then becomes what's known as your control. And the control is the web page that's proven to be the most effective. And then it becomes a matter of constantly trying to beat your control with new web pages and trying to get a better result out of a new web page. Basically, what you're trying to do is incrementally increase the effectiveness of important pages on your site, whether they be sales pages or opt-in pages or whatever they are. And with any of these tests, you have to get a decent amount of traffic, or otherwise the results are statistically insignificant. For example, if you have two web pages and you send 50 visitors to each page, that is not statistically significant because the numbers are too low to really make it clear which is the winning page, which is the most effective page. So you want to have decent quantity, perhaps several hundred visitors at least. And there's nothing to say that you can't test more than two versions of the page at the same time. You can do more than that if you wish. But again, you need to have a decent amount of traffic. Otherwise, the results you get aren't significant. So often, the term split testing, where you test one against the other, is often used because that's a good starting point. Version A of the web page against version B of the web page. And just as a quick side note, and hopefully this website will stay online for a good long while, so that by the time you view this video, you can view this site and benefit from its contents, and that's marketingsherpa.com. They have a huge amount of coaching content aimed at business marketing online. And they have an area of their site labeled Website and Landing Page Design And they have a headline here. For example, 4 simple steps to tweak site search box and lift conversions 20%. So there's an awful lot of content about other tests that marketing companies have run and what worked and what didn't work. And you may find this site useful for giving you ideas and an understanding of how small changes can make a big difference. Now, not all of their content is free. Actually, only a small percentage of their content is free, but hopefully by the time you visit, a lot of the useful content will still be available for free, or otherwise you'd have to pay for it. But there are other sites with similar content, but I thought this was a good reference to mention. And actually, as one final reference, and I hope this stays online for a good long while as well, so that by the time you view this video, you can benefit from this site. Now, as mentioned, there are other sites similar to this that are about marketing tests, but a very established site is marketingexperiments.com. And at this time, they have a lot of free content. For example, here, topic, finding the ideal incentive, how we increased email capture by 319%. So again, the benefit of the internet is that everything is pretty much trackable and measurable, and you can keep improving the effectiveness of your site and of your marketing. So that's a quick primer on exactly what testing online entails. So let's get started doing that with Google Website Optimizer. Okay, first of all, create New Experiment. And all your existing experiments would be listed on that page. Okay, you have 2 choices. Which type of experiment would you like to create? A/B experiment or multivariate? And it gives some pointers here. For example, this method, for the A/B experiment, this method compares the performance of entirely different versions of a page. Use it if the points below describe your desired experiment. Your page receives fewer than 1,000 views a week, or you want to move sections around or change the overall look of the page. So basically, an A/B experiment means you're testing one version of a page against another version of the page. Now, the 2 pages may be very similar, but they are 2 entirely separate web addresses. For example, yourdomain.com/index-A is being tested against yourdomain.com/index-B, 2 separate pages tested head-to-head against each other. Whereas with a multivariate experiment, Google describes it here as the most robust way to test lots of ideas. Essentially, it's the same page you're testing. You aren't testing multiple pages, but it's set up in such a way that certain elements of the page change so you can do certain tests. For example, the visitors are just seeing one page. However, you set it up in such a special way that the headline changes automatically across different versions. The page itself stays the same. For example, yourdomain.com/free trial, but you can set it up so that there are multiple versions of the headline on that part of the page, and only one of the versions of the headline is displayed at any one time. So let's say across 1,000 visitors, on average, 200 people view each version of the headline if you have such a headline. So the page isn't different, just certain parts of it change for different visitors. And the points here are to use the multivariate if your page receives more than 1,000 views a week, or you want to try multiple content changes in different parts of the page simultaneously. So this option is used particularly if you get a decent amount of traffic or if you want to test a lot of things quickly. Okay, let's start with the most basic things first of all. Let's go with A/B experiment and create. And I'll continue with this in the next video because this video's been a quick introduction to what you can expect in this series and importance and the concepts of testing online. So in the next video, we'll continue with this A/B experiment checklist using this new, as I record this, feature of Google AdWords.